Jai Radha Madhova Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, everybody. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashta Prayasha Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Maitreya Uvacha Saivam Samvidite Bhartra Manmato Metitendriya Manmaton Matitendriya. You can do better Sunday with here. Manmatha Unmathita Indriya. Manmatha Unmathita. You can see Manmatha Unmathita Indriya. Maitreya Uvacha Shaivam Samvidite Bhartra Saivam Samvidite Bhartra Manmatha Unmita Indriya Manmatho Matitendriya Manmathon Matitendriya Jagraha Vasu Brahmarshehe Vrishaliva Gatatrapa. Maitreya Uvacha Saivam Samvidite Bhartra Manmathon Matitendriya Jagraha Vasu Brahmarshehe Vrishaliva Gatatrapa. Maitreya Uvacha Saivam Samvidite Bhartra Manmathon Matitendriya Jagraha Vasu Brahmarshehe Vrishaliva Gatatrapa. Maitreya Uvacha Saivam Samvidite Bhartra Manmathon Matitendriya Jagraha Vasu Brahmarshehe Vrishaliva Gatatrapa. Maitreya Uvacha Saivam Samvidite Bhatra Manmathon Matitendriya Jagraha Vasa Brahma Shehe Vrishaliva Gatatrapa.
Maitreya Uvacha Saivam Samvidite Bhatra Manmato Matitendriya Jagraha Vaso Brahmashe Vishaliva Gatatrapa.
Maitreya Uvacha
Saivam Samvidite Bhatra
Manmato Matitendriya Jagravaso Brahmashe Vishigata Kripa.
Maitreya Vacha Saivam Samvidite Bhartra Manmano Matitendriya Jagaha Vasa Bharmashe Vrishaliva Gatatrapa.
Maitreya Uvacha
Saivam Samvadite Patra
Manmato Matitendriya
Jagraha Vaso Brahmashe
Jagravaso Brahmashe
Varishaiva Gatatrapa.
Vishaliva Gatatrapa. Maitreya Uvacha Saivam Samvidite Bhatra Manmato Matitendriya Jagravaso Brahmashe Vishaliva Gatatrapa.
Okay. Thank you. We continue. Maitreya Uvacha. Maitreya said, Sa, she, Evam, thus, Samvidite, in spite of being informed, Bhartra, by her husband, Manmata, by Cupid, Unmatita, being pressed, Indriya, senses, Jagraha, caught hold of, Vasaha, clothing, Brahma Rishehe, of the great Brahmana sage, Rishali, public prostitute, Eva, like, Gatatrapa, without shame. Maitreya said, Diti was thus informed by her husband, but she was pressed by Cupid for sexual satisfaction. She caught hold of the clothing of the great Brahmana sage, just like a shameless public prostitute. Maitreya said, Diti was thus informed by her husband, but she was pressed by Cupid for sexual satisfaction. She caught hold of the clothing of the great Brahmana sage, just like a shameless public prostitute. Somebody would like to read the purport?
The difference between a married wife and a public prostitute is that one is restrained in sex life by the rules and regulations of the scriptures, whereas the other is unrestricted in sex life and is conducted solely by the strong sex urge. Although very enlightened, Kashyapa, the great sage, became a victim of his prostitute wife. Such is the strong force of material energy.
Sa viditva ta bharyaya tam nirbandham vikarmani natva adhisthaya rahasi tayato viveshahi. Understanding his wide purpose is obliged to perform the forbidden act, and thus, after offering obeisance unto the worshipable fate, he lay with her in a secluded place. Understanding his wide purpose, he was obliged to perform the forbidden act, and thus after offering his obeisances unto worshipable fate, he lay with her in a secluded place. Yes.
It appears from the talks of Kashyapa with his wife that he was a worshipper of Lord Shiva. And although he knew that Lord Shiva would not be pleased with him for such a formidable act, he was obliged to act by his wife's desire. And thus, he offered his obeisance onto fate. He knew that the child born of such untimely sexual intercourse would certainly not be a good child, but could not protect himself because he was too obligated to his wife. In a similar case, however, when Thakura Haridas was tempted by a public prostitute at the dead of night, he avoided the allurement because of his perfection in Krishna consciousness. That is the difference between a Krishna conscious person and others. Kashyapa Muni was greatly learned and enlightened, and he knew all the rules and regulations of systematic life. Yet he failed to protect himself from the attack of sex desire. Thakura Haridasa was not born of a Brahmana family, nor was he himself a Brahmana. Yet he could protect himself from such an attack due to his being Krishna conscious. Thakura Haridasa used to chant the holy name of Lord 300,000 times daily.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namah. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisheshaya Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Maitreya Uvacha Saivam Samvidite Bhartra Manmathon Matitendriya Jagraha Vasa Bharmashehe Vrishaliva Gata Trapa. Maitreya said Diti was informed by her husband, but she was pressed by Cupid for sexual satisfaction. She caught hold of the clothing of the great Brahmana sage just like a shameless public prostitute. So Diti, Aditi are two prominent. Kashyapa has many wives. And all the Devatas are through the Aditi. All the Danavas are through Diti. And this is the instance of Diti must approach the husband at improper time, because for everything there are rules and regulations. To the time he should be doing Sandhya Vandanam, he should be worshipping the Lord. And she has come with the burning desire to have a sex with him. He's a great sage. It tells her this is wrong. This is going to be a terrible result of all this. Previously, before having a child, what is important is samskara. We have to have a plan and we have to have a responsibility. Why we want to bring a child to this world? First, we should think about it. Nowadays, just like in medical college now, I will visit in the beginning. All boys and girls will be sitting separately. And class will be very nice. They will hear me very attentively, whatever I say. Then I'll go after 6 months, again college will invite me. All will be sitting in pairs. Hardly anybody sitting. So common. And then the boyfriend, girlfriend business is so common. And moment there is pregnancy, it's like, oh my God. So people are not thinking of the consequences and neither they are ready with the plan. What I'm going to do? Am I ready? Just like in India, there is so much talk about family planning, so much talk about family planning. It's not wrong. We are small country, geographically not very big country, so much population. But at the same time, there is something called natural family planning. Very interesting. A father, mother should think, okay, we are planning to bring a child to this world, but am I in a capacity to train the child? Am I ready to take the responsibility of the child? There was once, I was talking to the youngsters in the college. So I was talking about this life and every angle should be regulated. Regulated life is civilized life. Irregulated like animal life. Like you imagine this, for today, this is a very small thing. You know, so nobody will think it's a great offense she is doing. But try to understand first from a common platform, then go to this advanced platform. This is a very, very advanced platform at which the discussion is happening. I don't think any family thinks about it this way. So now let us think about it. So there was one student who came in a class, asked me a question. Sir, isn't sex natural? What are you talking about? This regulation. I said, yes. Sri Radha Govinda Ki. Yes, it is. But the natural result of sex is a child. And contraceptives are not natural. It is natural result. They don't grow as like fruits and leaves on the trees. They're unnatural. Either pill or whatever you make. And the natural result of sex is going to be a child. Sri Radha Govinda Ki. Unless the boy and the girl have some defect. And then something more interesting, very, very interesting. It is natural for the child, very natural for the child to expect that father and mother are living a committed relationship. It's very natural for the child. He cannot bear it. I told that example so many times that happened in Kolkata. That father and mother were very common nowadays fighting for divorce. And the child was sitting in the court. And he looked at father. He said, Father, why you're not coming back home? He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't even know father, mother, small child are separating from each other. And the judge felt so bad. He blasted both father and mother. You are not thinking about the child, what he will go through now. Correct? So it is natural for the child. It is his right to expect that father and mother live a committed relationship. Correct? So the whole thing becomes magic. Today, it's like the last news the boyfriend wants to hear, the girlfriend is pregnant. You see, in this world, it is like this. Any enjoyment brings a responsibility. We eat a lot of sweets, be ready for not sugar fall. Correct? Any enjoyment brings some responsibility. We want to enjoy without responsibility. That's not possible. You have to accept responsibility. I accept, yes. So it's not that one side. You have to accept. There are duties and then there is, just like you're working in a job. You cannot expect salary without working. You want to enjoy a salary, but then you have to work. So we want enjoyment in this world, but that every enjoyment brings responsibility. Now you say, give me 1 lakh rupees salary. They say, we will give you, but this is the work you have to do. So it's not free, correct? There is no free lunch in this world. We have to accept responsibility. And that is why this principles of marriage is instituted practice in every religion. See, any civilized society, any part of the world, any great reformer taught marriage. Without marriage, you can live. Nowadays they have co-living. And one lady went to the court. See, we made this agreement in paper. Both are signed. We will live together for 3 years. After 1 year, he has run away. A judge is thinking which law to apply in that case. Funny. You cannot. It's totally uncivilized, irregulated society. So therefore, it should be regulated. Now this is one part. The second part is that in the Vedic culture, the whole society is focused on something very, very high, even above sex. Today in society, that's the highest pleasure. And we see many, many big political leaders, many big stalwart leaders have to resign because they were caught indulging in beyond civilized society. They have to resign. In America, we had the president resign. Bill Clinton had to resign. Even though you see that society in America is common, these kind of things, but they don't expect a leader to do that. Leader means he has to have something better than ordinary public, whom they can look at a good example. They didn't tolerate. He is a leader of the country. He cannot do this. Even though in society it's very common, but still they expect it, and he had to resign. So what's the viewpoint of Bhagavad-Gita? Krishna says, Dharmo aviruddho kamo asmi. Any sex which is not against the scriptures, which is regulated, and that he's accepting it. Not that sex is bad. No, it's good. Otherwise, how do children come in this world? And that I am. But that which is done without acceptance or any responsibility, like Prabhupada saw the situation in America when he landed. You have seen it better, but Prabhupada saw in 1970s, and he said, this is not good. The boy and a girl meet, girl becomes pregnant, and the boy runs away. And the girl has to beg from the government for support. So this is horrible. This is to accept responsibility. This is not regulated. Therefore, I always request, and the youngsters don't like it. I say first marriage, then love. Don't do reverse. No test drive. I'll take a car, drive for some time, then I'll purchase. No. Because, word of mouth has no value. I was just thinking, why did in every religion marriage was designed? Because it's a public commitment. Just like we recently purchased a land, we were lucky it's a government land, so we didn't have to worry about papers. But suppose you buy a private land, you have to check papers at least with 2 lawyers, and very rigorously. And then your crores of rupees, which is your maybe lifelong saving, you will get. But just imagine somebody, it happened in Bangalore only, we know of some case. There are 2 friends. So one friend said, you're not using that house, can I stay there? He said, yes, we're very close friends, you can use my house. After some decides, how much does it cost? I'll pay you the money. He said, it costs 50 lakh rupees. He gave him the money, 50 lakh rupees. He said, fine. He said, we will register one day. Yeah, we are close friends, we'll register one day. What happened? Near that flat, airport came. There was big thing. And the cost of the flat of 50 lakh became 5 crores or whatever. But it became exploded. He came back to the house, gave him 50 lakhs and get out. He said, what is all this? I've purchased already. He said, no. You take your money, get out. I'm not going to give you a 50 lakhs. So he got a shock. Why? Word of mouth has no value. So how do people do it? They make an agreement, they make a registration, isn't it? Marriage is exactly that. Today, now you are bringing the legal registration. What actually happens in marriage? The most important thing, which we generally miss. I remember when we used to go to marriage, we were youngsters. We used to just run, eat, and run back home. So mother used to say, "Did you meet the boy?" And no. Hey, you should go and wish them. Okay, next time, isn't it? So, what is the most important thing? As a public commitment in front of parents, in front of all the friends, in front of all the relatives, all the well-wishers, in front of the Lord who is invoked in the fire, in front of the Brahmana who is sitting there, who is doing your puja. Generally, previously they used to be also cultured and qualified. He will be the Purohit in a community will be the best among all, very pure. So I remember in my community, the Purohit will not be eating grain, the only fruits they will eat. Some kind of austerities, and they are respected. Sometime, whatever. Nowadays things are, there is respect. In front of all the respectable people and all your relatives, friends, you make a public commitment. And the boy and a girl will say, we are committed to this relationship. Isn't it? It used to be. So it creates a commitment. And that is how it was. But today, that is all over. All over. And what do people want? People want enjoyment without any responsibility. So marriage is over now. It's become, just like it is said, if the milk is available in the market, why do you keep a cow? So similarly, if I can relate to a girl without marriage, why get married? So marriage has gone away. But then the situation has not been good. If you look at the crimes, very large percentage, I cannot say how much, maybe more than 50% crimes are because of this being irregulated. Boy approaches a girl, throws acid at her because she didn't accept him, or the girl commits suicide, or boy commits suicide, or the people gather together, beat them to death, whatever, all because irregulated things are encouraged, isn't it? Why the relationship even started? Recently we see that so many kind of violent, because it's you cannot even imagine such violent crimes happen to women sometimes, and we can't even imagine why a person did that, because the very fact that he thought he can have a relationship which is unregulated led him to, because see, I'm giving my love to somebody without any system. It's very, just like my money I cannot give to somebody without proper check. How can I give my love to somebody? Word of mouth has no value. The person just walks out of the relationship without a thought. Correct? No, I'm not happy, and just walks away. And the other person is devastated. And then the crime starts. That's one way. And this is a gentleman. Sometimes this person is assuming something, another person doesn't mean it. But why did you start the whole thing? Why did you start the whole thing? I always said what? First marriage, then love. I take 1 hour class in college for them, and they don't like to hear that. I know it is good for them, but they don't want to listen. I say first marriage, then love. First make agreement, then give your money. Isn't it? We don't give you money before agreement. So similarly, you are giving money, more valuable than money is your own love and affection. How can you get attached to somebody and trust him and give your all love and affection without any agreement? Nonsense. And that's what is happening in society today. It's just irregulated life. And when Srila Prabhupada landed up, we could notice that. Prabhupada said, as far as this life is concerned, I don't even know what is sin. It lived in a very pure life. And when he saw in America this happening, boys and girls relating without marriage, he said, this is great malady of the society, great defect. And this is causing so much suffering. And today it has become part of India also. 50 years we are behind. Like 8th, 9th, 10th class, they start learning drinking and drugs. In India, it is at 12 years now. At 12th class, it is go down. Slowly we are learning to bring it down. So this is not good. So regulation is always, the more we are strict with the mind, the more we become a gentleman. And the more we are loose, the more we become crazy. Mind is a very, very funny instrument. You are not the mind. It's a child waiting to be trained. Just like you train your child well, it's a great pride. When you go anywhere, you meet somebody, they say, your daughter is such a nice person. feel so proud. But what is it? It's your training. But you don't train, it's an embarrassment. You know, sometimes we heard a child slap father and mother in public in a birthday party. It's an untrained, spoiled child. It's an embarrassment for the parent. What to say now? Everybody looking. What is your training? So similarly, mind is like a child waiting to be trained. Train this mind to live a regulated life. You'll be very happy. More you beat the mind, the more he becomes happy. And how do you beat the mind? You're very strict. Very strict. No, mind is mind. It's not allowed. We tend to be reverse. We tend to be very loose with our own mind and very strict with others. We have to reverse it. Just like Srila Prabhupada, sleep for 2 hours. And said, you all sleep 6 hours. Because they see he's tired. But what he's asking is much less than what he's doing. We like to follow. You understand? First, you should be a role model much higher than what you're asking. Then people will like to follow you. That was Acharya Srila Prabhupada. He used to sleep like everybody at 10 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, he used to get up. What was in front of him to get up at 12 o'clock? Karuna. He knew the whole world is suffering. And he knew he has a solution. He can't sleep. That's only the heart of great people. They feel, can I do something? Just like, say, you're a doctor in a hospital. And it's a corona time. Okay, we can relate now? And patients are dying. Won't you work like this? Will you just be sleeping 2-3 hours? Won't you do that? As a good dedicated doctor, you will try. You can cut your sleep because you know every minute of yours is saving somebody's life. True? If it is, then we had a situation like that practically. Doctors are not available for home call in India. They're not free. They're very tight in hospitals and working minute by minute to save lives. True? They tried. They had no medicines, we all know that, but they tried. We appreciate that. The same is suppose, now just think about it. We are talking about spiritual life, little superficial. We really don't see people suffering. We cannot see because we are too absorbed in ourselves. We can't see other person's pain. All of us are so focused on our own careers, our own comfort, our own pleasure. We can't even see outside of ourselves somebody and look, actually he's suffering. True? And for an Acharya of his stature, he's looking in a spiritual domain. When what we think of suffering, somebody physically suffering. Somebody doesn't have food, somebody doesn't have house, somebody is, some physical pain. But an Acharya sees even more deeper. That even with all these things, many people are suffering. They have a good house, they have all the opulences, all the comfort, but it's in great pain. Actual suffering is of the soul. And why the soul is suffering? Just like a child separated from the mother, how you'll feel. First few days are going to be a big trouble. How do you feel? It's great pain. Not only you miss the love, affection, you miss the protection of the parents. That is what many children misuse the newfound freedom and spoil their life. And they miss also what? Home food. But what is most important is that they don't realize they're missing the protection. Just like in house, so many things you'll not do because mother, father are present. And when they go outside that shell of protection, many children misuse the freedom and the life becomes spoiled. So now coming back to our topic, we have to regulate ourselves. So more the regulation, more we are going to advance in life. And more the mind will be cool, sanguine. Recently, many people said, students, we are not able to concentrate studies. That's the first problem to find. Suddenly, I said, why you are not able to concentrate? What's the reason? No, sir, I'm not able to study. Tomorrow exam is there. Can you help me? I said, okay, understand this principle. If the mind is not able to concentrate, that means the mind is not pure. Is it right? Mind is disturbed, means mind is not pure. Do you all agree? Yes, exactly agree. Mind is not pure because your activities are not pure. If I jump into a dustbin, I cannot come out clean. So if my activities start becoming crazy, then my mind becomes crazy. True? It's connected. Karmatmakam yena sharir bandhaha Our activities color the mind. I start drinking, my mind becomes a drunkard addict. You know? Mind changes. My activities affect the mind. Is it fine? Is logical? Now, what generally happens to youngsters is that when they go to college, they are outside the protection of the parent. And first time in their life, under peer pressure or under newfound freedom, they start indulging in activities which are actually not good. Like boys will start smoking, drinking, and the girls watching movies all day. That's what I know. So what happens because of that? The mind start becoming agitated because you are doing activities which are not good. The mind is not good. The moment the mind is disturbed, you lose your concentration. Then after the mind loses concentration, the studies just become a pain because you're just cramming, and some are passing exams. You're not understanding anything now anymore because to understand things, the mind needs sattva. Oh, it's like that. You're developing wisdom. The whole life you're going to do this profession. Why not study now? Because this will be, later you cannot study with your responsibilities, family. Where is the time? Now is the time to study. This is going to benefit my whole profession, isn't it? But you look at the colleges, very difficult. Ask the teachers. It's a pain to teach in colleges. Pain. Pain means I'm still a teacher in colleges. Terrible it is. Terrible. If you can find in a class of 100 people, one person listening to you, you find your profession success. So difficult nowadays. Teaching is becoming more difficult. Why? Because youngsters, the minds are disturbed. And why their minds are disturbed? Because their activities are not pure. And everything goes down. I was once in Manipal College and I was asking one student came to my place for general discussion, your friends. They were telling, sir, the teacher should take such a class, that I become totally interested in. I said, tell you one thing. Teaching is a two-way process. It's not one-way process. Both have to participate. Teacher also, student also. What time did you sleep yesterday? Sir, I slept at 3 o'clock. So 8 o'clock class, what is teacher supposed to do now? You hardly slept. And on top of what you're doing? Sir, we had a party, drinking, and then I was watching movies and gaming. Then I went to the class. Then I slept at 3 and 8 o'clock was this happening. So what is teacher going to do? I said, teacher is going to dance or what? To make you attracted. He cannot, even if he has prepared well, he cannot make you interested because you are not ready. Both have to participate. So this is actually the malady of the modern day society. Things are irregular. Now this is a very, very high standard. What is Kashyapa Muni and Diti? This is, try to understand. In our culture, we had something called Samskara. You heard about that? Samskara. Samskara means purification. We all know about Namkarana. इसको call लेना है क्यों मतलब? पहले आधे घंटे में we call Namkarana Samskara. You know about that? When the child is born, there is some name giving ceremony. Vivaha Samskara. It's Samskara, purification. And now we'll accept a responsibility and work with responsibility, regulated by. So similarly, there are various samskars, purification. Life is for what? Purification. More you're pure, more you're a better person. All problem is here, but outside. If I can be purified, I actually can be a great person. If I can be purified of all my kama, krodha, all this thing, I can become a wonderful person. This purification begins even before birth. That's called Garbhadhana Samskar. And if I look at this case of Kashyapa Muni and Diti, everything else was fine. She was having sex to have a child. That was also fine. She's not doing what today they do. Break the pregnancy by some artificial. No, she had no plan like that. And it was not wrong because Aditi, her sister, had already children. And all of the sisters also had children. It's nothing wrong for her to expect the husband. There were, I think, 6, 7 sisters married to one man. It is nothing wrong for her to accept that I also have children. When other co-wives are having children, nothing wrong for her to have children. But she forgot the time, and which is not proper time for this. This is a time for worship. And the second thing she forgot that this is no, we didn't do Garbhadana Samskara. So it was not done properly. So Garbhadana Samskara, what it was basically, it was the husband and wife call all the relatives, call the priest, and there is a worship of the Lord. And a prayer is offered by the priest to the Lord on behalf of the family. We want a great child to come in this world. So therefore, today's sex is something hidden. Nothing. What's wrong about that, Baba? I'm bringing a great child to this world. How do I bring it without sex? Not possible. Now we are offering prayer to the Lord because He's the one who sends the soul. Okay, body, what we know, DNA will combine. But the soul is not the body. So we are requesting the Lord to send a great soul to this world, whom I can train further so that he can become a great devotee. It's called Garbhadana Samskara. So therefore, for that was missed out. And without Garbhadana Samskara, what got Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, the great two villains of the history, who tortured so many people. And today also we see the Garbhadana Samskara, then how to constitute this. The society is totally changed. You can't do all these things. People will not even understand. Isn't it? They will laugh. So Prabhupada said, do one thing. Sit and chant 50 rounds, both husband and wife. Not 25, 25. 50, 50, both of you chant. 16 rounds takes 2 hours. 50 rounds takes something like 5, 6 hours. So your mind will be calm after so much chanting. And pray to the Lord. Then have sex. There is nothing bad about sex, husband and wife. And have a great child and train him. All aspects. Train him to be a great citizen of the country. Train him today. Nowadays, only focus of the parents is marks, 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 isn't it? Very one-sided focus, which is not everything about a child. Now, you don't make somebody a friend based on his rank and need. You do that? No. There are so many other things about it. Okay, that is one aspect. But what kind of person is he? So that is also important to train a child and to be a good, nice person. Many parents don't invest time in it. Everything can be trained, but they don't invest time in it. They're just so much worried about economic anxiety that they fail to do this. And the third thing, teaching about the mission of life, teaching about the goal of life. That is what I found that was missing for me. And I think that is missing for practically every child at 18 years. When you land up in the college, all the friends will ask for a different kind of suggestions. And certain things you're not going to do because parents have told you not to do, but you don't know why I should not do it. Just like if I have somewhere to go, that something is good, something is bad. If I have nowhere to go, nothing is good, nothing is bad. So at home, we are pushing a child to attain certain landmarks. But when the child goes to college, now he has to walk on his own legs and he has to have what is known as self-generated momentum. He has to have a vision, what he wants to achieve in life, and a self-generated moment to keep going about. Otherwise, it is very easy to be distracted at that age. Correct? And philosophically, in fact, what happened to me was that I heard all my friends and there was so much distraction. But I did not know why I should not do this. You got some result? Okay, so let us sum up the whole class now. So overall, we see that here we have Kashyapa Muni, and he fell victim to his wife, Diti, okay, which is not expected of such a great sage. You should have been in control. And then Prabhupada, in the next purport, we saw a quick example of Haridas Thakur, a great devotee of the art. And he was tested. A prostitute came 3 nights to test him. Nothing happened to him. The other prostitute became a devotee, hearing this chant. Okay, thank you very much. Today we have a young student in front of us. So my class was more targeted to that. Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna
Dandavat
Prabhuji.
pranam.
Dandavat pranam.
Beautiful talk, Prabhuji. So enlightening.
Hare Krishna. Chalo, we take leave. Thank you very much. We have some young student today about to enter college. So I was just trying to advise. Our Sridhar Prabhu, you know, his sister's daughter has come join a medical college. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everybody.